Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to look at Snowflake stock and answer where I think it could be in 2 years. Snowflake stock is already down considerably in 2024. Of course, coming into the year, I did not have Snowflake stock rated as a buy. I told investors I do not consider it a buy because of the expensive valuation. So let's take a look at where the stock price could be in a couple of years to understand the decision around Snowflake stock.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
Alright, so one of the numbers I'm going to need to make this stock price prediction for Snowflake is the current stock price, which is at $160 per share, down from over $230 per share. A couple of months ago, the company reported disappointing earnings results that sent the stock price lower. I also need Snowflake's forward price to earnings ratio, and you could see just how expensive the stock is. It's trading at a forward price to earnings of 124. It's near the lower end of its valuation according to this metric. Still, a forward PE of 124 is significantly more expensive. The average stock in the S&P 500 is trading at a forward PE between 17 and 21. So for a forward PE of 124, Snowflake stock is trading at a super premium valuation against the S&P 500 average stock. I also need to know Snowflake's earnings per share estimates for next year. Now, Snowflake is in its current year, it's 2025. I know it's confusing, I know it's annoying, but companies are allowed to have fiscal years that differ from calendar years. That's why Snowflake's current year is 2025 and next year is 2026. So its earnings per share estimate for next year, our 2025, Snowflake's 2026, is for $1.40. Now that earnings per share estimate is down from $1.73 90 days ago. Those numbers have come down since the company reported earnings and investors became a little bit more downbeat about its earnings prospects over the next couple of years. So now that I have Snowflake's key numbers, I can go ahead and start my financial stock price prediction. So I highlighted that its earnings per share for next year is expected to be $1.40. I did not show you where I got the growth rate from, so let me do that now. Earnings per share is expected to grow for the next 5 years at 18.05% for Snowflake stock. So I'm going to use that 18% growth rate to apply to its next year growth rate to get the earnings per share estimate for 2026. So when you're making a stock price prediction using the forward price to earnings ratio for 2025, you need the earnings per share estimate for 2026 because you're using the forward PE ratio. And so that's why I applied this growth rate to the EPS for 2025 to get the EPS for 2026 of $1.65. Now, I want to draw your attention to the top right-hand corner where I have this $1.65 EPS 2026. And if I apply that 124 price to earnings multiple, which I got from the current PE multiple, then Snowflake stock price could reach $205 per share by the end of next year. Now, that would be a solid improvement of 25% from the current share price of $160 per share. But what if the PE multiple proves to be too high and the PE multiple falls to 100, which is still a super premium valuation? Then the stock price could stay relatively flat at 165. If the forward PE were to fall to 75, then the stock price could fall to 124. If the forward PE were to fall to 50, which would still be more than double the average of the S&P 500, then the stock price could fall by nearly half to $83 per share. You can start to understand why I did not rate Snowflake stock as a buy. It has limited upside here. Even if the expensive valuation persists, the most it goes up, if all else remains the same, according to these estimates, is by 25%, whereas the downside is considerably larger, and that would still leave the stock at a premium valuation. So where is my base case? Where do I think is the most probable outcome for Snowflake stock over the next 2 years? I think it's somewhere between the 100 and 124 forward PE and a stock price between $165 per share and $195 per share is where I think Snowflake stock ends up over the next 2 years. Now, that's coming with considerable risk given that the stock is trading at a super premium valuation, which will fall with any indication that this stock and this business is not heading in the right direction. Right now, Snowflake stock carries this premium valuation because it's a premium business. It generates strong growth. It's got excellent prospects given that it's data centered and data is the foundation of artificial intelligence. So those factors are pushing Snowflake stock to these premium valuation levels. If anything surrounding that story is to worsen or show weakness, then this super premium valuation will quickly be eroded. It's one of the riskier things when you're counting on a super premium valuation like this to persist. I like to count on earnings per share growth instead of counting on super premium valuation for my investment returns. I find earnings per share growth a less risky form of capital appreciation than I do with expanding PE multiples or expanding valuation multiples, which tend to revert to the mean when they're trading at super premium valuations. So you can understand, I still don't have Snowflake stock rated as a buy. I have Snowflake stock rated as a hold because primarily of this valuation. And the stock is not perfect. One critical metric which I look at for companies like Snowflake is the net revenue retention. And for Snowflake, that number has been decreasing, even though it's stayed at over 100%. That number has been decreasing for several consecutive quarters. And what I like to mention when I review Snowflake stock is while it is being picky to look at that one metric and say, like, that's not good news and that's not really great, I tend to be more picky when I'm looking at stocks that are trading at such expensive valuations, right? Just like when you go shopping and you're looking at a product that's selling at lower than average price, you're willing to overlook some defects because you're getting it at a really low price. But when you're paying top notch, top dollar prices, and you're looking at any kind of product, you want that to have all the best characteristics. Otherwise, you don't want to pay that top notch, top value price. And it's not very different when I'm looking at stocks. When I'm looking at a stock like Snowflake trading at the super premium valuation, I want almost everything to be perfect in order to consider investing in a company at these valuations, which I don't see for Snowflake. I think most of its characteristics are very good, but not all of them. And at this valuation, I want everything to be really good. All right, so that's where I think Snowflake stock price will be. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts and where you think Snowflake stock price could end up. Before I let you go, let me tell you about the greatest deal on YouTube. With just a click of a button, you can get free financial analysis from a professor with decades of investing experience. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.